Good morning. Good morning again. Would you please take your seat? And everyone, welcome back. We are now going to have our last presenter, Reverend Stephanie Soderstrom and Noelle DeWard. Reverend Stephanie Soderstrom is the supervisor for short-term mission and North American Partnership. And Noelle DeWard is one of the next gen. She's interesting. As a full-time student, Noelle has been engaging in several short-term missions. So it will be an exciting and interesting conversation with Stephanie and Noelle. Let's welcome Reverend Stephanie Soderstrom and Noelle on the stage. Yeah.
Hi, good morning. I'm so excited to be with all of you again. Did you click it on? We got it up here. We're good. All right, I'm going to pull out my cell phone with my questions on it, and we're going to get started. I'm excited to be here with Noelle. Noelle and I have been chatting about this for a couple of months now, and just thinking about what it would be like to be up here with you all and telling stories. And I'm excited because Noelle works for the Reach the Forgotten Jail Ministry in Grand Rapids. She's a full-time student. She has been on several mission trips over the past few years with RCA Global Mission. She's also had some experiences prior to connecting with RCA Global Mission, and she's a product of the RCA. Her parents are her dad's a pastor, and
my mom.
And her mom. They're
Times
both.
two.
Yes, so she's a pastor's kid. She's been involved in mission. I'm really excited for you to get to know her as she shares some stories with us about what it's been like for her to engage in mission. Noelle, can you tell us about your first experience on a cross-cultural trip?
Yeah, so my first time on a cross-cultural trip of global engagement was in 7th grade. We went to Costa Rica. And in 8th grade, then we went to Mexico, and that was with my family. It was a school that their goal was to cultivate global leaders and thinkers who can make a better difference in the world and a positive impact on their communities. So that shaped my worldview starting fairly young. And of course, my parents, my community, my experiences of moving around a bit, going to new schools, made me quite adaptable and solidified some foundations in me of curiosity, compassion, and empathy. Yeah.
That's really awesome. And so more recently, you spent a year doing an internship with Alamana Center. Mm-hmm. And before, right at the beginning of starting that internship, you got to spend 3 weeks in Oman with them. So can you tell us how spending time in Oman helped shape your understanding of their context as you were getting ready to serve them?
So Alamana Center's mission is to build interfaith relationships between Christians and Muslims. And with that, we're cultivating relationships and building bridges across cultural differences and faith differences. And so they invited me to come, and the 3 weeks in Oman were the start of a year-long internship where I would be helping them with media and engagement with their communities across the world through social media. And so I did that from the States and did a lot of communication with them back and forth. So going there and witnessing the work of Alamana Center really helped formulate and inform the work that I was going to do for the next year. And without that, I think, Josh and I, we kind of played around with the idea of what would it have been like if I had done this year-long internship and then gone to Oman after that. And we agreed it was probably better that I started with it. And so breaking down those barriers and deconstructing stereotypes is what really helped me grow in my worldview, grow as a person. And I was only 19 at the time, so it was an experience for sure. And I went with a group of Hope College students. So it was really interesting to figure out, am I with the college group? Am I an Alamana Center volunteer? I was both. And it was really interesting to try to find my place and what's my purpose here. But yeah, it was really good.
Tell us a story about something that surprised you, something that happened to you. You sent me this great picture of you with these young people playing soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us that story.
So this was really just so unexpected and just God, really. On the plane over heading to Oman, it was a big plane, and we were sitting in the Kuwait airport waiting to go. And this young, about our age, Omani, came up to us. His name is Arkham. And he said, I just have to ask, what are all of you doing here? It's Hope. We're Dutch. You got this big group of 20-something-year-old college kids, all ready to go, very hyped up. And so he came and he was like, I just have to ask, what are you doing here? And Silas, who's actually in Bahrain right now, he engaged in the conversation, and then I joined in, and then some others joined in. And we got right into it, talking about the Muslim faith and the Christian faith. And it was really a respectful conversation from the start. And then he got our numbers. Arkham got our numbers. And he said, we should hang out while you're here. I'll plan something, and we can all do something, and I can introduce you to my friends, and we'll all hang out and have a great time. So we get there, and we have our scheduled activities, but then in our free time, Arkham said, okay, I've got a whole soccer field rented for us, and I'm gonna pick you up with my friends, and we're gonna go play. And so that's what this photo is. One of our free nights, we went and played soccer with them, and soccer's a big thing there. So I just think the fact that they rented a whole field for us for the night, I thought that was very thoughtful and welcoming, and the hospitality in Omani hospitality just blew me away, truly. I felt very at home. And then a few nights later, he says, we've got a picnic planned. They had watermelon and other kinds of fruit, and they set up blankets, and we just sat around and talked and shared a meal. And again, I just have to emphasize, this was not planned for our trip. We met him at the airport, and I think it was God working through Arkham, through our group members, and I felt very blessed to have that experience. Yeah.
And so after you spent these 3 weeks in Oman learning about Alamana Center and the scriptural reasoning process that they do, their interfaith dialogue, experiencing the hospitality of the people in Oman, you had the opportunity to go to another one of our mission partners in Bahrain. How was it to go from one mission partner to another just immediately in the same region? What was it like to be in two different places?
I knew they would be different, and that was the case, but hearing about the connections between Bahrain and Oman and the deep roots of the RCA missionaries there, it just showed how God has been working there for so long and using people between both places. And they're not that far apart. It was like an hour hop plane ride. But the cultures were very different and the missions were very different. But it helped me have a better understanding of the RCA's global mission, that it expands much farther than just one place. And I got to experience the different cultures and traditions, and they just welcomed me in, right, like family. The Oman trip was a bit more structured with set activities to do. And then in Bahrain, I just kind of joined in on their everyday activities. Kathy and Blaine Newhouse, they just welcomed me right in. They have a daughter my age, and so Grace Newhouse.
She's here, by the way.
Yeah, she's
Talk
here.
to her.
And they were like, oh, you remind me of my daughter. Like, you fit right in here. And they brought me to dinner with their church family, and I met all these wonderful people. I spent some time at the Al Raja school helping Kathy. One little girl even wrote a haiku poem about me. I thought that was sweet. It says, Miss Noelle is kind. She is beautiful and cute. She is from US.
That's amazing.
Accurate. But yeah, it was a really wonderful experience to see both places and to be welcomed in different ways, and to be able to engage in different ways. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had these two experiences back to back where you were a little bit part of a group in Oman, but you were sort of added on to this Hope College group, and you went to Bahrain on your own. These are sort of independent experiences that you had. And then in August of 2024, you were part of the AS Yamada She Is Called trip to Peru that happened, and that was a group trip. I want to hear a little bit about the trip. I want to know first, how was it different being part of a group as being just doing something that you're doing independently as an individual?
It was collaborative in a way that I hadn't had before. It was empowering as well to be surrounded by so many incredible women, and multi-generational, I have to say. I mean, the youngest was 16, and then the oldest, I think, was in her 60s. So we had a wide range. And to share that sisterhood together, it was really cool. But it was different because in Oman, I was with people my age and then the people that I was going to work with for the next year. Yeah. And then in Bahrain, I was just kind of part of the family. We'll take you in. And this was a group. We're in this together. We have a set mission and tasks that we have planned and we're going to do. And so it was different, but in a really good way.
Yeah. Share a little bit about what you guys did while you were there, and maybe a story about Peru.
So we were doing workshops, and we were spending time with these young adults, mostly young women. Sandy and Albino are there with La Casa del Maestro, and they kind of are a safe place for young adults in Cusco, Peru. So we just kind of came in, and our mission was to spend time with them, build relationships, and help them grow in their faith from a different perspective. I faced some struggles, though. I don't speak Spanish fluently, and so I was confronted with this barrier of how am I going to communicate? How am I supposed to connect when I can't even speak the language? And God tested me, I think, or I felt like it was a test. But he had a plan all along, and I connected with Mel, who I was just told is now doing a exchange student program in Mexico, which was one of her dreams, and I'm so excited for her. She's studying communications and psychology just like me, so we were able to connect with that. And we have been texting through Google Translate, and so making that connection after having like a really humbling experience of the roles are reversed. I'm the minority here in terms of language and not being able to connect in the way that I had initially anticipated to. And so the humbling experience changed into a formative experience.
Yeah. You guys also had an opportunity to go out into a village, and could you just tell us what this is, this picture that's coming up?
Okay, so I was like ready to go for this. I was so excited to build our mud ovens. And so we went out into one of the more indigenous communities, a bit more rural. And Albino, he got down in the dirt with me. We were digging up all kinds of stuff. It was kind of gross, but also like we were just getting into it. And first of all, it took so long to build that arch. It's really hard. So it's a oven, dirt oven that we roasted potatoes in, and we all sat in a circle and we were peeling our potatoes, and it was what we made. But it's something that they have been doing for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So it was really cool to have that cultural immersion experience.
Yeah, they shared something with you and you got to be a part of it. That's really amazing. So we've got about 5 minutes left of our time here, Noelle. So you have plenty of time to talk about what you would say to someone who's considering stepping out of their comfort zone and going on a short-term mission trip. How would you encourage someone who's thinking about that?
Go out in the world. Those 3 words, they just keep coming to mind: curiosity, compassion, and empathy. If we can ask curious questions instead of judgmental ones, and step into someone else's world with compassion, and confront hard realities with empathy. I mean, there's really, really hard things beyond our little bubble. And so to confront that and sit with that and empathize with that, I think, what a difference what a difference we can make in the world. And to reflect and embody the authentic love of Jesus, I think says more than any Bible we can just hand out. And to foster similar relationships that Jesus was able to make and build during his time on earth. I think that's the best example of who we should be and who we should strive to be. So that's what I would say to young adults, but to older adults. And Rawi said this during his part. He said, "I felt like I was in a room of giants." That's how I feel. There's so many people here with so many experiences across the world, and I've only been to a few places, and I'm only 21, and there's years and years and years of experience here, and I feel like a newbie. But I want to say thank you for allowing space for young adults and for young people to explore opportunities. It's so important to have role models, first of all, and then people who are just helping pave the way. So I just want to say thank you to all of you who have done that. I'm almost done.
You're doing great. You got time.
My dad has been one of my biggest encouragers for going out. I mean, he and I are very similar, so he knows my personality very well, and he knows that I get anxious about different things, and so he sent a text yesterday, and I just want to read this verse that he sent. It's 1 Timothy 4:12 through 16. "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young. but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. Until I come, devote yourself to the public reading of Scripture, to preaching, and to teaching. Do not neglect your gift, for which was given to you through prophecy when the body of elders laid their hands on you. Be diligent in these matters. Give yourself wholly to them, so that everyone may see your progress. Watch your life and doctrine closely. Persevere in them, because if you do, you will save both yourself and your hearers. So he sent that to me, and I think it speaks to what's happening here in terms of the relationship between young people and the older adults, and expanding the RCA's mission across the world and for generations to come. So, yeah.
Thanks for sharing
Thank
some of your
you.
stories.
Thank
Just
you.
at this, everybody, she has been so many places in the last couple of years. These are just little snippets.
Just snippets,
And
yeah.
so if you want to hear more from Noelle about her time, I'm sure she'd love to connect with you or talk to you even after the conference sometime.
Yes.
And if you're interested in having experiences like the ones that Noelle has had, our team would love to make that happen. If there's a young person in your life that you think, man, they would love this, we want to talk to you. We want to talk to them. We want to see how we can fit them into our partners. And if you are a young person and you have not yet signed up to win a free trip
Are
to
you kidding
Peru,
me?
and
If I
you
could,
are
I would.
anyone at this conference who has not signed up to win the free trip to South Africa, please come back to our table and put your name in the little white bucket that's on our short-term mission table back there. It's not a trash bucket. It's a drawing bucket full of people's names. So enter to win a trip, because we would love to have you be part of one of these experiences and expand your understanding of who God is and what God is doing around the world. Thank you.
Thank you.